Not holding back, building freedom on a brand new track. And welcome to Living Unchained Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jay Melane, also known as Wise. I am a life coach, also a technology specialist and AI strategist.
And I am your other host. I am Lekeisha Wise, an author, coach, and speaker, and the author of How to Get Unstuck, Confused to Focus.
Hey, family, this is a place where we break cycles and build freedoms. So we need you guys to definitely tune in. And guys, I want to let you know today is a special episode because we'll have the amazing Dr. Chef Shayla with today. She's going to be talking about her journey as far as being a doctor to becoming a personal chef. You don't want to miss that. And also, she's going to talk about plant-based living. So I'm telling you, 24 karat gold balls will be dropped indeed. But before we jump into the amazing episode, I need y'all guys to subscribe, hit the like button, and definitely share. Hey, we're a community here, family, and the Break Free Nation is here for you, family. So I need y'all guys to go to livingunchainedpodcast.com and you click on the Break Free Nation and you will see it'll be two categories. One, they don't have to pay anything. You just sign up, you get information about the podcast, information about newsletter, everything dealing with breaking free. Then also we have our paid one that we do all constant. We come together. We actually have sessions, training session, information and stuff like that, and giveaways and all above. So you definitely want to miss that, family. So definitely go to the website and check things out. So we appreciate every member there and all other new members that actually come in because we are a family. All right, family. So what we about to hear is gonna be 24 karat gold bar. So listen in and stay tuned to the end. We'd love to hear y'all guys. So make sure you comment. Let us know your thing. Is plant-based living for you, or do you know what suggestions, what things you would like to do as far as your health and diet? We'd like to hear from your family. So. All right, we'll see you on the other side. Take care. Hey, family, welcome again. We got an amazing interview with Coach Shayla. I'm telling you right now, she's a personal chef. But before she became a personal chef, she was actually a doctor, working in the hospitals and stuff, taking care of your health, taking you, wherever you need in the hospital. Then she shifted over to a personal chef. So we're so thankful for her coming in on her, I guess you say, busy or we'll say productive schedule to be here with us today. Hey, Coach, well, I'm about to call you Coach. Lord have mercy. Dr. Chef Shayla. How you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me, Wise and Lakeisha. Y'all are awesome. I'm doing wonderful. I can't complain.
Awesome. We appreciate you, and I like. I want people to understand the story, the pivot, because it's interesting. The wildest dreams is, I'm going to school. I'm gonna become a doctor, a lawyer, some kind of businessman. Some CEO and all that. But your life pivot. You actually had a change. You did all that, became a doctor, but now you are a personal chef that heals people with food. So what would that pivot in your life that actually, so the people here can understand what happened from you going from from being we call DR in the medicine field, but you stay in the medicine, but a different arena with dealing with food.
Right, right. Uh, so I'm going to make it sound like it was like a very smooth pivot, but it definitely was. It happened in stages, and I would say it first really started when I had my daughter. Me and my husband had our daughter in 2017, and so to give context, this was right when. So with medicine, I should kind of back up a little bit. After you do medical school, you have 3 years where you have to do residency, right? And so we were finishing our third year residency. Both me and my husband met in medical school. So we're both in our residency training. And I'm already thinking, like, this is about to be it. We're going to be done with training. We're going to be able to live the life that I've dreamed of all these years. Like, we'll be able to travel. I'll be a doctor. He'll be a doctor. We'll move back to Atlanta because, mind you, we're in Greensboro, North Carolina doing our training. And so we planned to have a baby. And I got pregnant, 3 months, maybe 2, 3 months before it was time for me to graduate. And so once I graduated, things were going great. I was maybe I was in the end of my first trimester, and I had to get an ultrasound. And when I got the ultrasound, I remember specifically we didn't want to know the gender of the baby, and so I was expecting to get some pushback from my OBGYN because she knew we were both physicians. And so I'm driving to work one day, and this is after graduation, and I see a call from the clinic. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, I know what this is. She's going to be like, why won't you let me know? Like, I need to know if it's a boy or a girl. So I'm anticipating that type of conversation, something lighthearted. So I answer the phone. I'm driving down Wendover, a very busy street in Greensboro. And essentially what she says to me is, hey, we did the ultrasound. We can only see two chambers in the heart. And so, to give context, I'm an adult medicine physician. I'm not a pediatrician, so I don't know a lot about kid medicine, but I do know you need four chambers in order to live. So I hear this and I'm thinking of all the doctor things, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know if I'm calling someone with bad news, I usually preface it. I say, hey, are you sitting down? Are you in a place where you can hear this? And I know she knows I'm a doc, so I'm thinking it must not be a big concern to her because she just kind of went right into it. And so I said, oh, what do you think the odds are that it's just an error? Because the thing about ultrasound is it depends on who does the ultrasound, what kind of image you get. And she says 50-50. 50% chance this is an error, but 50% chance this is real.
Oh,
and
wow.
that, like, yeah, exactly. That's what I thought in my head. Oh my gosh. But I still had this like people pleaser mentality. And so
Okay.
instead of like letting the emotions come out, I felt like, okay, I got to be professional. I have to act like, everything is okay. And I said, okay, thank you so much. Got off the phone. As soon as I ended the phone conversation, tears just coming down my face. I'm trying to drive, mind you, to thank God I got to the parking lot. I couldn't even walk into the hospital. I'm just sitting in the car, and all I'm hearing is, oh my gosh, like there's a chance our baby's not going to make it because two chambers. So I call my husband, and all I can say to him is, because I call him and I'm crying, and he's like, "What's wrong? Did somebody die? What's happening?" And I remember I said something along the lines of, "Nobody's died," but in my head I said, "Not yet," because I'm thinking if this is real, our baby's not going to make it, right? And
Wow.
so, fast forward a little bit, we ended up going to an advanced maternal fetal specialist, and they did a more technical ultrasound, and they confirmed that essentially she had a condition called left hypoplastic heart syndrome, or excuse me, hypoplastic left heart syndrome, HLHS, and that the left side of your heart, which is the side that pumps all the blood to the rest of your body, was weak for her significantly. And so, 20, 30 years ago, if someone had a condition like this, that's a death sentence because there was nothing to do. So they were explaining all the things to us. And without going into all the details of like the medical jargon, in my mind, what was happening was, how God, like we did everything right. My husband was my first
Exactly.
boyfriend. Okay. We got married right after graduating from medical school. This is the beginning of our third year of marriage. This is supposed to be our first kid. We were about to graduate from residence. Well, we had already graduated from residency. The plan was for us to move back to Atlanta. I had in my mind a dream of what my life was supposed to look like, and the reality of either we will lose our baby, because they explain either you could do palliative medicine or palliative care, which is the baby is born and you do more comfort care. Because of the anatomy of a baby, they can survive the pregnancy even though that left side is weak because they're depending on mom. Once they're born, the anatomy changes and
Okay.
certain valves shut off, and so then it makes it harder for them to breathe. So the other option is to do surgeries. And the way they explain it to us is, these surgeries, it's not like all right, fix this and everything's good. It's a series of surgeries. A lot of kids, I shouldn't say a lot, there's a high percentage of kids that don't survive the surgeries because it's open heart surgery from when
Okay.
you're a baby, and then they stage it out. And so they were saying neither one is a cure. So it's either chronic illness or death after a few days. And so prayer was a huge part of our journey. For me and my husband, my faith is a big part of who I am. I mean, it's all that I am, and my husband. And
Yeah.
so we did a lot of praying. And you can imagine there was a lot of tension, right? And sometimes displaced emotions, because me and my husband, the way that I perceived it, we handled it differently. He was like the calm in the storm, is how I describe it looking back. Like he really was putting his trust in God. I was questioning a lot because I just felt like it's not fair. I was caught in the
I believe
emotion
it.
of it. Like, it's
I
not
can
fair.
understand.
Like, why? Because I thought I did everything right. So this is my chance to like get the reward. That's really like, honestly, that's what I thought. I was just like, God, like I did everything you told me to do, and now this is gonna happen. Really? Like, what was the point of all this? And God just had to help me see how I was thinking of him, like almost like thinking, I did my part. Why aren't you doing your part? And I just had to confess it to him. And it took a long time of like what I tell people when I talk about it now is God had to show me that I was grieving, even though I'm skipping ahead. She's 7, excuse me, she's 8. She's doing wonderful now. But there was a grief process, even though she did not pass away, thank God. The dream that I had passed away of what my life would look like, but even more specific than that, what I thought it meant to be a believer and what I thought it meant to be a parent or even being married, understanding that the way that God works is not how I work, and I can have certain expectations, and it doesn't mean that's what he's supposed to do. And the core of it for me, when you say what's the pivot, is what happened when I realized that life is so short, like truly is short. Like it's one thing intellectually to say, oh yeah, no one's guaranteed, because I saw it every day in the hospital. I saw some people didn't make it long, some people did. But in my mind, I was like, but I'm gonna be okay. Like my family's gonna be okay because we're doing all the right things. And that was the first time in a very personal way I had to look into the reality that like I don't know what my future will be. I could have a
Okay.
hope in terms of my life here on earth. I don't know what my daughter's future is going to be, and I can't control it. And so to really let go of that, because in my life, so much of what had happened up until that point, in my mind, I thought was because I took certain steps. And it's true, I did take certain steps, but God was guiding me all throughout that. And so it really forced me and continues to force me to learn how to keep submitting and letting go of the idea that I control anything. And so when she was born, after her second day, like 2 days old, she had her first open heart surgery. And she stayed in the hospital 18 days, did well, had to go back in 3 months later, get her second open heart surgery. And then at the age of 3, had her third open heart surgery. And since then, she's had procedures where they look at the valves in her heart. When I explain it to people, it's almost like the way you describe what she has, it's almost like if someone had a severe heart attack and a certain part of their heart is not working anymore. So they have heart failure is what we call it. She has that. And so she's on the medications that someone with that would have. She takes medicine to help her pee, get fluid off. She takes aspirin because she has a stent. She takes medicine to lower the pressures in her lungs, all types. And she's been taking that since she was a baby. So that's her normal. So sometimes I forget this is not normal. Like it's not normal for a kid to take medicine and to go to the hospital. And because she's doing well, I kind of forget that was my life, all the stuff that we went through. When I see her scar, she has a heart scar down her chest. And when she's getting undressed and I see them, like it's like a visual reminder of like, wow, look at what God has brought her from and us as well. And now, how does this connect to the pivot? It was the first time I really, 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 really had to come to grips with the fact, like I said, I don't have control. But number 2, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I thought before that I was a pretty empathetic person because I know how to people please, honestly. I know how to, in my mind, it sounds bad to say people please, but it's true. Like when I would go into a patient's room, I could tell, oh, they are not happy to be here. All right, I'm going to hit them with a real good joke. I'm going to be lighthearted, talk with them, kind of ease the way that they're feeling, and they'll be more comfortable with me. When this happened with my daughter, it was the first time I felt what it was like to really be a patient, to have to wait for the doctor to come in the room. And then when they come in, you can't remember any of your questions. And when they're talking to you, you don't really understand what they're saying. Even though I'm a physician, I'm not peds. I'm not a pediatrician. So they would talk to us, me and my husband, knowing we were physicians for a lot of times. And so they would just give sometimes, too much information. And I'm not in doctor mode. I'm in mommy mode. I'm like, what's the next step? Like,
Hey family, it is I am Lekeisha, and I want to talk to the ones that are feeling stuck. You know the ones that are feeling like you are in confusion, like you're feeling like you're in fear, like you having a season of loss of clarity and without confidence. Listen, my latest book, How to Get Unstuck, Confused to Focus, is truly for you. It was written for the ones that are feeling just like you're feeling, very confused. with no motivation, without a roadmap. And I'm giving you a roadmap. Grab your copy of your book. And I promise you, this book is really going to change your life. It's going to show you how you can have your purpose and understand that you have power, which you truly do. If you're in midlife, if you're someone who are transitioning from careers, if you're someone who's trying to figure out what's your next move, this book is really going to help you, and it's going to show you how you can break free from the mental clutter, how you can have divine clarity, and you can understand how you can move forward and understand to have a strategy and move forward ahead. Promise you, it's going to be great for you. Grab your copy, show it to someone else, because I promise you, you're not by yourself. Let's not move through the world without understanding who you are, because you have power. Have your power and focus with this latest book.
The physiology and the anatomy and, the mechanism of action. I was just like, this is all going over my head. Just like, make it simple. My husband, he was the one who kind of helped with interpreting and breaking down a lot of what they were saying. But I was very much in mommy mode. And so when I went back to the hospital, it was hard because everything reminded me of her. When we were in the hospital with her, you hear the beeping before her. That didn't bother me because I had got used to being in the hospital. But now I would see her. I'd be like, oh man, that was like when she was in the ICU. Oh man, the nurse walking by, that's like when I had to wait for the nurses to tell me what to do. So it was like constantly triggering me to think about what it was like when our daughter was going through her surgeries, and she still has to do like the certain procedures. And so I found myself just asking God, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like, what can I do? Because one, I felt almost like not helpless, but like, what's the point of it all? And when I was mentioning the part about the empathy, I realized like people are hurting. Yes, I know that, but like truthfully, me saying a joke to them or being nice is not changing the condition that they have.
Yes.
The impact of the health condition that they have or the struggle that they have. And I felt that when we were in the hospital with my daughter. And so a lot of times when I would go into patient's room after that, I was very emotional. I couldn't, before I had a barrier, right? Like I was the physician. I could come into your room. It didn't hit me here. Now, every room I went in, I just felt like I was getting hit over and over in the heart because it kept reminding me. And so I was like, God, I can't stay in this hospital doing this, number one. And number two, I want to meet people before they get to this point. So I went through a series of tests because it didn't come to me clearly what I was supposed to do. I did some non-clinical work to try to cut back on the time that I was away from home so I could spend more time with her because I started working part-time. And my husband, he was the best supporter. He was, he didn't understand where the disconnect was because he knew I was a good physician. But the disconnect for me to really still be present with patients and not constantly feel like I'm being triggered into thinking how things were with our daughter. And so did some design work with some remote work because now we're in 2020. So remote work is an option. So I did some design work with a studio in Boston. And when I was doing some design work with them, my role was to like advise them clinically to make sure their designs were aligned with guidelines medically. And at that time I started cooking stuff just to experiment in the kitchen. And in sharing that with my colleagues at this place, somehow I can't remember, it was a God thing. I found out about lifestyle medicine. And lifestyle medicine is the concept of it is that we can prevent many health conditions or even reverse them, not just with medications, but with lifestyle specifically, eating more of a plant-based diet, decreasing stress, increasing exercise. And those are things we say in general, but specifically like the evidence that supports that so that we aren't just waiting to give people medication. And so when I was looking that up, I was like, oh, wow, these are some things I could probably do for my daughter. She has this heart condition. How can I start incorporating this type of cooking to help her so she doesn't have to rely on the medicine as much? So I'm experimenting here and there. It's fun. It's COVID times, have more time because I'm not going anywhere. And the more I experiment, the more I'm having fun with it. And I'm talking to my colleagues at the design studio, and my boss, Yuhan Sonnen, that's his name. He says, why don't you figure out a way to do something with your cooking and medicine? And in my head, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. There's no connection there. But I was like, okay, sure, I'll figure something out. So, classic doctor, I'm like, all right, I'll teach people. Like, that's what I thought. I was like, I'll talk about how like food is important, and I'll do a nonprofit. So I started a nonprofit with a friend, Cooking on Purpose Health is what it's called. And we would go into different small communities, like whether churches, stuff like that, festivals, and we would show them lifestyle medicine and how to do it practically. And as I'm cooking, doing the things, it was fun. Like we would go into there, we would give them the health education, then we would cook, and they would be a part of the class. It was very interactive. People would say, "Oh man, I can see myself using these ingredients. Okay, I might add a little bit more vegetables and fruits," instead of it just being eat more fruits, eat more vegetables. It was like, hey, this is how you do it, where you're still honoring your culture and it's not boring, and it's very like approachable. My colleague, my friend who's doing the nonprofit with me one day, she's like, we're driving back after the event, and she goes, when you're cooking, it's like you're in this zone, it's like your gift. You can just tell you love it. And I was like, yeah, girl, I do. I love it. She's like, I mean, you ever think about just doing that? And in my head, I was like, that's crazy. All of these years I spent learning how to be a doctor, and you talking about just cooking? That's crazy. I can't do that, right? And I said to her, I was like, I don't know that. How could I do this? She's like, I mean, you never know. Just try a little bit here and there. And so with her and her husband, they encouraged me. They're like, just try cooking for some people. So I cooked for some friends for free. Just, hey, I'd love to make a plant-based meal. You tell me what you think. And so I cooked for one friend who's actually here in Greensboro. She's also a physician, Benita Bernardo, Dr. V. She's a huge mentor, all the things. Hopefully, I'm going to make sure she sees this podcast so she can know I shouted her out. But I'll cook for her, go to her house. Because seriously, that's the thing I want to say in this story, because I listen to so many podcasts. But the cool thing about God is he will put people on your journey to help you figure out the thing. But like, so in hindsight, it makes sense. But in the moment, you're just like, all right, I guess I'll do this. And that's literally what happened. She's a friend, and she's like, she's like, I know you love cooking. Why don't we go cook for another friend of ours? She's going through a hard time. And I was like, but you never had my food. Are you sure she's going to like it? She's like, girl, I've seen your pictures on Instagram. There's no way that food can't be good. I'll be your sous chef. I said, all right. So we go to the friend's house. And this friend is a plant-based eater. So it's not like I had to convince her to eat plant-based. It's like, okay, it's not, this is someone who's used to it. How hard can it be? So I make a few of my favorite dishes. I want to say I made like crispy chickpeas. I made some sweet potato curry. I did like a taco dish as well. I did a few different dishes. We were there for a few hours. And my friend who eats that way, she's like, girl, I know how to cook plant-based, but I've never had anything like this before. This is so good. I can see you doing this for people. And I was like, what? You just saying that because, you're trying to be nice because I cook. But she's like, no, you should really think about it. I said, I don't know. I'll think about it. Come back home. I tell my husband, babe, like she loved it. And he's like, okay, good for you. Good for you. All right, you're going to go back to being a doctor, right? And I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. So then the friend who went with me, Benita, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I love to cook for you and your family. Now she's plant-based, but her family isn't. She's like, sure. So I cook for them. She tells me how much her husband loved the dishes, how her kids like the dishes. And I was like, okay, well, no one's going to pay me for this. So, I mean, I'll put it out there real soft, like a side hustle, not super hard. That way I have to really lean into it. And so fast forward maybe a couple weeks, I'm in a call with Benita. She has a devotional group. And one of the ladies on there, Benita says, oh, yeah, Shayla, she's a plant-based chef. She just starts saying that about me. She's a plant-based chef. And I'm like, whoa, listen, like, simmer down. Like, I don't really consider myself. But she's like, no, you are a plant-based chef. And so one of the ladies on there, she's like, oh, my gosh, I've been praying for a plant-based chef. Oh, could you cook for me? And I was like, yeah. She's like, how much is it? And I was like, oh, I guess this is real. So I tell her, we've set something up. I know, right? This is how it happened. And so we set something up. And I cook for her. And as I'm cooking in her home, she's like, oh my God, it smells so good in here. And she said, oh, this is beef. Oh my God, what did you put? Oh, these are black beef. I mean, she's loving everything. And I'm like, she's just being nice. She says, hey, so can we make this a thing? Can you come regularly? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Then Benita tells me she knows someone else who wants me to cook. And the momentum kept going. And I think essentially what I'm saying is, in hindsight, everything looks great. But what the through line was, like, I was willing to step out on faith, even though it felt scary, so scary.
Step out on faith.
It didn't make sense to me. What's that? What'd you say?
Step out on faith. Come on now.
Step out on faith. Exactly.
Yeah.
Step out on faith and step out of logic. Because in my mind, I'm trying to make it make sense with being a doctor. I'm trying to be like, all right, I'm a physician. So when people say, what do I do? I have to make it like, oh, I'm a doctor. But sometimes I could like, no, God was like, no, I want you to be a plant-based chef. You're going to use what you learned in medicine to provide food that helps people, but step into
Come
this.
on
And
now.
I was so afraid of what people thought, how it was going to look. And the more I leaned into listening to what God told me, the more opportunities showed up. And even people that I thought would say, "Girl, what are you doing?" They would send me messages in my Instagram like, "Man, you're inspiring me. I would love to do something like that and maybe pivot from my career. This is so encouraging." And you know what I mean? So it's just crazy because you think that you're in this silo and everyone else has their stuff together, and then you listen to God and then can encourage someone else to go, man, God's been telling me to do something different too. I'm so glad that you did it. I know that was a lot and I can keep going, so I don't want to I don't want to not give you a
Actually, I
chance
think
to
it's
jump in with
amazing.
a
I think it's
question.
amazing. I want to jump in because you said two amazing
Yeah.
things in there that stuck out to me, and then I want to make sure my wife got opportunity to share. You said with the whole thing with the pivot is a life changing thing. You went from the
Yeah.
standpoint of being being in school, about ready to graduate, and realize that you and your husband were pregnant, about to have a child. Then you have a life changing phone call. You know what I'm saying? On the road, you're expecting this, and I'm saying that, and then like I said, it questioned your faith. And yeah, and the thing is, and sometimes we don't realize as believers, it's okay to question God.
Right.
Not doubt. There's a difference between doubting, a difference between
I
I
agree.
want to get understanding how this can happen to me. I done this. And the thing is, when you have a relationship with God, you realize sometimes you have questions. You do in your personal belief.
Yeah.
And to grow spiritually, sometimes those questions have to be revealed. Your heart had to be revealed. Not because you're doubting God, you're trying to get an understanding of the situation. Then with the understanding
Mm-hmm.
situation, when you got through it, then God had provided other people in your path. It was amazing that you
Mm-hmm.
took a course talking about food and stuff like that. Then you said, I was having fun with it. I was having
Mm-hmm.
passion with it. I was having fun with that.
Yeah.
Then you'll learn a new talent, another skill set that actually
Right.
took you to a different path in your life.
Right.
Not really wait for medicine, because food is medicine. If I'm not
Right.
mistaken, and those in the comments definitely hitting me in the comments, I'm wrong with this one, but I believe it's in Genesis 2:29. It's talking about God had gave you the herbs of the land to eat.
Mm.
So the medicine,
Mm.
God already gave us the medicine within the food that we're supposed to eat for healing. So what he didn't shift your scenario of medicine. He put you on his purpose plan.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. So, I let my wife step in. I'm going to turn it down a little bit and let her go. She drops some 24 karat gold bars. Go ahead, babe.
Good.
We're so
That's good.
excited. It's just out there because when you're talking about going through that process of purpose, it really lights us all up, honestly, just knowing that, we have to start at one place and then we end up where we are. But it's that middle part that people forget about. That's that middle in your part of your journey, right? And you went
Yes.
on a process and, your mind was like, let's be honest with everybody's listening right now. The logic is I went to school for this long. And come on, that ego come in a little bit like, wait a minute, hold on now. Who gonna pay me back for all this stuff here? right. And that goes in your mind. So you're like, how can I rationalize all of this education that I endured
Come on now.
into what I'm doing currently right now? Who's going to believe me? Who's going to understand me right now? Who's going to put me to the side and say, you know what? I know you might be going through something. Do you need some support, some help, therapy or stuff?
Right.
People try to rationalize. I'm just keeping it real. The elephant on the room, the people out there, they want to know. They're like, yeah, I'm thinking that too. But this is the thing. It's not about logic of everybody else. It's about the Lord, right? And it's about what God was telling you. And God says, listen, silence everyone else, because everyone else's viewpoint is always going to deter you from what I want you doing, your purpose for yourself. The enemy always wants you to do that. Like, hey, wait a minute. You went to school for this long. Come on now. This cannot be right. But God said, yes, it is right. And how you feel that inner, right? You're like, wow, this feels good though. This don't feel wrong, but this feels good. And just by you just going through that process, and logic is like, well, how am I gonna get paid for this? Wait a minute. I love doing this, but how am I gonna get paid for this? And guess what? God answers every prayer, right? You telling God this, like, how I'm gonna get paid for this. You going, God's like, look, just focus on this, focus on this journey, focus on doing what you love to do, right? What you love to do. So you're focusing on this and you're doing the gathering, and somebody said, wow, this food is so good. Wow, you got to do some food for me. I would love to pay you. So all I was hearing was private chef. And private chefs, if anybody out there they know private chefs really get paid a lot. And that's go from any skills, from local, from celebrities, from whoever. They ask their private chefs to come out, prepare the meal this way. Just if you got to leave, it's okay. If you got to prepare it ahead of time, that's fine. But then you go to that negotiation, but this is your business, kingdom business.
Right.
So I can go on and on in this, because you're just really speaking my truth. I'm just hearing this. This is really great for me to hear. And just your journey, your story, someone needs to hear that, because somebody needs to be free. Because somebody right now is really dying, not only inside, but they're dying in their body, because they're leaning in on what is good for them. They're eating things that are not good for them, and I love how you're able to share that with us, because this is really helping someone break free.
Come on now. Okay, now, family, if you are enjoying this amazing episode, please subscribe. Hit the like button and definitely share. Hey, we're a community here, and the Break Free Nation is here for you. So go to livingunchainedpodcast.com, and there's links that will take you directly to that amazing community where we be dropping 24 karat gold bars indeed. So we want to thank everybody who already signed up and the ones who are going to be signed up in the future, because like I said, we are a community. And family, thank you so much. So not going to hold y'all guys. Back to this amazing episode. I love that. And I love that. And it actually got me that I wanted to ask this question to you real quick. And I think me and her understand, but for the audience, we want to ask this to have a good idea of what direction, why you went this direction as well. Because many people will tell you, hey, I can try to do this plan. I can do the Melane diet, or I can do this diet, this. Why do you choose plant-based? Can we do other type of what we call meal plans and have meat in it, maybe fish or something like that? What's your thought process on that? As a physician who is plant-based, who uses this medicine, we already said the scripture standpoint of why God talk about it. But why, from your standpoint as being a doctor and also a person who's been a personal chef doing plant-based, why do you choose to do that one based off the other ones?
Yeah, that's a very great question. So I'll start off. It's twofold for me. So I think my first introduction to it, like I mentioned, was lifestyle medicine. I had heard of vegetarianism. I wasn't very familiar with veganism, and I always make sure I tell people, and I'm glad you said plant-based, that I'm not vegan, because vegan is more than the type of food that you eat, but it's also what you consume, like what you wear. Nothing is animal based, and it's more of the lifestyle of that, and animal rights usually. Plant based is more about, and I think of it as a spectrum where how much of your diet is predominated by fruits, vegetables, legumes, beans, things of that sort, anything that's not animal related, and specifically whole food plant based, because that's the other piece, right? There's a lot of things now that are plant based and it's super processed, and so how much better is it than something that's processed and maybe has some type of dairy or meat in it? I think that's a different question. But for me, it started off from the medical side of things, because I was doing research. And so I found out about lifestyle medicine, and it was like a whole new world to me, because I didn't know that there was actual trials and science that was showing evidence that when a person starts to adopt this type of diet where they're eating more of their fruits, where they're eating more of their vegetables, they're eating more of their greens. They're focusing on whole foods as as nourishment, how it could reverse heart disease, how it could reverse diabetes, how it could decrease your risk for pre-diabetes, how it could lower your cholesterol. Like, I knew how to say eat better, lose weight, and that'll be good. I didn't know there was a specific diet that they showed, hey, when people do this, we could see where they may have plaques in their valves, or excuse me, in their vessels from heart disease, how that's decreased. There's a doctor, oh man, I believe I'm blanking on his name. He has a book. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's somewhere in my, oh gosh, it's right there. Oh gosh, y'all gonna prevent and reverse heart disease. That's the name of the book. I cannot think of his name right now. It's just escaping me. But he goes through the evidence of having patients who had advanced heart failure, who had really bad heart attacks, where they were like on their last leg, and traditional medicine kind of gave up on them. Where he put them through a strict whole food plant-based diet, and then did studies to show what their valves look like, what their vessels look like, and to see the reversal, to see the strength of their heart increase. That is what attracted me to it, because in my mind I was thinking, okay, my daughter has something similar to this, so maybe I could apply that same principle to her. But what happened as I started cooking the food, right? And I'm, doing the things, I'm like, this is not that different from how I grew up. Now, granted, sure, they use more meat. Like if they're making collard greens, my family back in the day, they're not just, it's going to be something else in there to give that smoky flavor. But what my whole point was, they were buying, you know what I'm saying? But they were buying the collards, or my grandmother knew how to garden. You know what I mean? Like they used those types of ingredients. Everything wasn't in a can. Not even to say that you can't have canned food, but my whole point being, they knew how to use food, like you said, the herbs of the land. They knew how to use food, and so as I was cooking and I was getting reoriented and being in the kitchen, it was reminding me of my childhood, of my family, and I was like, this is not that far from how I grew up. It's just thinking of it differently. And actually, this tastes pretty good. So I'm wondering, and I feel good. Like personally for myself, I felt a change in my energy. I felt a change in how I thought about food. And I didn't obsess over it as much as I used to, because there's so many different diets and there's so many different strategies that people advise. And I've given to people, even as a doctor, to my patients, try the Mediterranean diet, keto diet, the carnivore diet, all these, the diet wars is what they call it. My way is better. No, my way is better. So I don't get into that part of it. I tell people, here's the evidence for plant-based, right? This is my personal experience with it. And then for me specifically, for where I am in this season, I do believe God is calling me to eat this way, at least in this particular season. I don't know how long that will be, but as of now, this is the way God calls me to eat. So when I'm making food for almost everybody that I cook for, they still eat some meat. I don't cook it for them, but most of them still eat some version of meat, whether it's fish, poultry, or red meat. And when I say to them, at the very base of it, when you look at the evidence, the more you can increase your fruits and vegetables, the better it is for you, whether you eat meat or not. The more you could do that, it's going to improve your health. So I think it's the health part, but then it's the spiritual part for me. And so spiritually, what I have found is that the more I let go of the sugar, the processed food, even meat, it's helped me focus more on God. I think specifically that is something that God has been teaching me, because of how much I have to be around food. Like I cook food so much that there was a point where I started to focus more on, how can I make this look so good? How can I make this look so great and pleasurable so people really want it? And God was like, wait, hold on, you're going down a different road. Yes, I want people to think it tastes good, but the point is not for this to taste the most amazing, be the most decadent, pleasurable experience. The point is to show you can have health flavor, you can have healthy things, you can have flavorful things, and it can do good things for your body. And honestly, when I go in someone's kitchen, the point isn't even the food. And most of the people I cook for, they know this. The point is not the food. The food gets me in there, but the point is ministry. Like that's something God had to show me at the heart of it. Because being a doctor, and that's what, so you spoke to this, Lekeisha, about the ego, right? So when I went through this process, God had to remind me that he did not want me to be a doctor so I could say I'm a doctor. He didn't call me to go into medicine so that I could say, I'm in medicine. It was a vehicle to allow me to be in front of people who may be struggling in a specific area, but to bring the glory of God to them in that area. And so being a doctor just opened up the room. It wasn't the end goal, it was the means. And so that hasn't changed. To your point, Wise, I'm still a physician in training, yes, but now the vehicle is a little bit different. Now, instead of it being a doctor who's in the clinic, I'm in the kitchen. But the point is still for them to know who God is. And so the cool thing is when I'm in someone's kitchen, I see how they live. I'm walking into their home. Like I'm around. It's not just me delivering the plate. Like I'm in their kitchen. I'm with their dishes. I see their family. They're coming in the kitchen, and they get to talk to me. Like I'm not one of those chefs where it's like, all right, get away. I'm about to make the food. All right, here you go. They come in. They're asking questions. Why are you using that? What about this? Oh, can I tell you about what happened? Now I can go. So I got to be careful and not talk too much. But the whole point is, food is intimate. And so when people let me cook for them, it's like it opens this door where, because I'm in their space, they feel my energy. And I believe that's the Holy Spirit, that then there's an opening where we start connecting, not just about the food, but on life. And so to get to your point about which one is it in terms of how one should eat, what I tell people is, like, I'm not your judge. Whichever way you go is your way you go. But what God presses me to tell people is that to eat more like this, it serves our health. It also serves us spiritually and mentally. And then, just to each person is a little bit differently, but knowing why you go into the food. And so that's a whole different story. But I really press that upon people and not making food the idol, because that's something that I struggle with in this field. I have to constantly guard my heart against thinking, how do I make this the biggest and the baddest so people can be like, ooh, I want that? Because it's not really the point of it. It attracts them, yes, but that's not the end goal, right? And so, because that goes back to the ego part. Am I just looking for another thing to show, yeah, I'm really good at this thing? Or am I really looking to serve someone and say, how can I meet you where you are and give you what you need? You think I'm giving you food, physical food, but God is just letting me use that so that he can give you what you need. That's how I will answer that. I don't know if that answers the question all the way.
Well, it answers the question 100%. It answers your question 100%, because at the end of the day, like you said, you define, like you said, hey, it's different between being a vegan and then also being plant-based. Then also, like you say, everybody unique based off of what their needs are. But what you do, you encourage them to eat more of that, because it's not just the standpoint of the medicine of the food, but also, like you said, spiritually, that's a ministry that God has given you to be able to share with others. And if they take hold of that ministry, then, their life can be even much improved. I look at it when, I'll use an example for myself, then I let my wife step in. My birthday last year, I said I was going to wine and dine myself. So went to about like 3 different, in that week, not the same day, in my birthday week, went to 3 different steakhouses. Got 3 different amazing steaks. At the end of that week, I felt so miserable in my body from all that red meat. Yeah. Since that day, I really have not touched a steak after that, and I love steak. I haven't touched a steak because it did something to my body that it did not feel pleasurable. So once we got our union together and we got married and stuff, she made she is very attentive about making sure that there's a lot of vegetables, even if we do eating type of pasta or something that's more like chicken or fish based. And the thing is, she wanted to encourage me to make sure I eat more vegetables. I drink more water because, I got another coach that he stayed with me about water, but she more attention about me eating, make sure I eat more vegetables, that I eat more salad. And the thing is, she just don't make it plain. She'll decorate, she'll make a homemade dressing. They go with that, instead of buying the stuff from the store. They got a lot of preservatives and stuff. She make everything more natural. So therefore, the body can process it better. So as I work on improving my health, she aiding in that by changing up. It's not 100% plant-based, but she increased the plant base in my diet. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, we talked about even increasing more plant-based and getting away from even maybe eating possible chicken and fish in the future. Or we do what we call, I guess we said phases. We eat, then just eat just vegetables for 1 week. Then this week we just may eat more protein or something like that. Then the conversation we have, the whole thing is about communication and coming to agreement and actually working towards and executing those things. I'll let her step in.
Yeah, thank you, babe. One thing about it is that was great for me is, to understand. I had to understand this for myself first. I had to go through a process. Both of my parents were diagnosed with diabetes.
Mm.
Okay. And not the I believe it's two parts, right? You can be type 2 diabetes, type 1, right? It was the diabetes where it was something that they were doing to themselves versus it just coming on to them for, genetics, the part what I'm talking about. So my
type 2, yes,
one thing about it is, my family loved to cook, loved to eat, things of that nature. They had no problem there.
Right.
And they had they used to make spreads of food, the food was so good. We had everything that you wanted to eat, right? The only problem was both of my parents were overweight because of the consumption of the food that they were eating, right? So the food was taste good one day, but it really wasn't doing the good for them in the internal. So as time went by, the body started to cry. And when the body started to cry, it's disease, dis-ease, right? Yes. So that was what been happening. Was like, hey, I need some help here. Something's going on with me. Yeah. You got to fix this, So what happened is my dad is not here anymore. He transitioned. But my mom, she went through a process and she wanted to lose a lot of the weight. I always was telling my mom, it was something, it'd be best for you to lose the weight. You know how it is. Oh yeah, I know I need to lose the weight. But what geared to them was the grandkids. They wanted to be here for the grandkids, right? So my mom would say, listen, I want to be here for them to grow up, to see them graduate, and for them to get married. So I got to do a life change. She went on her own diet. She began to eat tuna every day. Wow. Nothing else but tuna. And when I tell you, she went from 300 plus pounds to now 170 by herself by just doing that. And she said, God told me to do that. And I agreed. Wow. And now she tells her story, now she does that. And it was interesting. But mind you, she knew that she needed to lose the weight. But what pushed her was the fact that she wanted to be here for her grandkids, right? So with that being said, I adopt a different lifestyle with me too, because I want to make sure that my husband and I, eat well, but where it tastes good. I think it's all in the taste. A lot of us, we think about this, all about the taste. We just want to make it taste good. So you know what? We can eat other foods that taste good, but we need to make sure we have nutrients in those foods, right? So like making sure the ginger, making sure to have those, oregano and things of that nature. So I used to cook. Now I'm cooking with a lot of that. And I noticed that tastes really good. And I make my own dressings and things of that nature. So I began to adopt that a lot. And guess what? That tastes good. So it's not that I wanted to be a whole vegan, but I wanted to change it up a little bit. Maybe 1 week I can probably have total fruits, and then the next week have vegetables and maybe I still eat meat. So I like chicken and maybe some turkey, things of that nature. Right. But I haven't really done with it a lot of the pork, but I had pulled back from that. You know what I'm saying? So I began to change it up to turkey. So that's been helpful. And we've been able to maintain with that. So, and I've always asked him, he's always honest. I say, how was this food? He was like, actually, this is pretty good, babe. This is really good. You know what I'm saying? So that was beneficial for me.
Indeed.
So with that's that being said, just coming up with a question. Yeah, exactly. That's meaningful. So what I would say for you, like now that you have this new life and have this new life change, how do you feel now today that you're doing your purpose in this way, knowing that it's changing people's lives and what they eat? Because they think about that that chicken, like I showed that spread of chicken. And my parents, I'm sure they had it too. But how do you think, how does it make you feel in that process of being this way in your purpose?
And so you're saying, how do I feel that I took the step towards the purpose versus how I felt before? Okay.
Yes.
That's such a great question. When I look back, I feel like the old people when I look back over my life. But when I look back to 7 years ago, and I think about how torn I was so torn because I was afraid It's like, God, if I let go of being a doctor, what will I be? Like, I had so much of my identity in saying there's an MD behind my last name, and God had to undo that. And I look back to where I am now. I'm stronger. I'm more resilient. I trust Him more. I'm grateful. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm so grateful that He still helped me get past the fear, because I have so much joy. And life isn't perfect. Like, stuff still happens. I'm not trying to pretend like everything's great now because I did it. It's hard. It's hard. Like you said, that middle part where you're trying to figure it out and you're like, I don't know, maybe I need to go back to the hospital and take care of these patients because this is not making sense, God. Like that flush starts rising up and you're like, how I need, real life is happening. How do I make this make sense? But I'm so glad that I was able to just hold on a little bit more, because the joy that I have, the peace that I have, and knowing that I obey. There's this thing, Tabitha Brown. I love Tabitha Brown. I think she's amazing.
Love Tabitha Brown.
She's amazing. But I was telling this to my husband. I really fully believe this. I don't know her personally like that, but I really fully believe this. There's certain people. I truly believe that it's not really the person that you like. I really truly believe the Holy Spirit in her is what I'm attracted to. In that she talks about it all the time, and that she obeyed. Like, we want to sacrifice and say, God, I'll give you this. I'll give you this. And God's like, I got that already. I want you to give me your yes. Like, I want you to listen to what I'm telling you when it doesn't make sense. I want you to stop being a doctor in the traditional way when it doesn't make sense. I want you to be a chef when your family knows you couldn't cook for about 20 plus years, girl. I want you to be a chef when the first 7 years of your marriage, your husband was cooking more than you. Because at the end, when I did that, I couldn't say it was me. So now when I share with people what I do and I tell them what I used to do, it breaks their brains so much. They're like, it can't be anybody but God. Because no one goes, I'm going to be a doctor and then I'm going to stop being a doctor to be a chef. And I'm going to be a plant-based chef, even though 7 years ago, I didn't even know how to cook. And I'm going to cook for other people and they're going to pay me, even though I didn't go to school for it. Like, there's no me in it. There's no like, this is the way you do it. It's all God. And so, like, I think about that Shayla from years ago. I'm proud of her that she said yes, even though she was terrified and she didn't know what it was going to look like. I'm so grateful that God put people in my life that helped me get past the fear, because it didn't all come from me saying, I'm going to do it. It was people speaking life into me. My friends saying, girl, go ahead and do it. What's the worst that could happen? My husband being like, all right, I'm here. I believe in you. My daughter, having her was the greatest shift. Her health journey, and even now she's 8. She's in 2nd grade, and she'll say to me, I don't get emotional, but she'll say to me, when I grow up, I want to be a chef and a doctor. That's what she says to me, because she knows what I do. And I say to her, but do you know why I'm a chef? And she goes, I know, because I inspired you. She's an age. And it's just like, my life, it feels surreal. It really does. Like, but every surreal moment came after I said yes, when it didn't look clear. I want to encourage people who are listening, because I can still remember listening to podcasts when I was in that moment. I was searching, I was seeking. I wanted to hear other people who had a transformation and hear more about the middle, because you see people at the end and you go, man, good for them. And you think, oh, it just happened. But there's a struggle in the middle. And I think I'm still on the journey. Like, there's different levels to it all, right? And so, yes, I've had some amazing success outwardly, but there's still a lot God's working on me on the inside, and I believe will come out on the outside in terms of fruit. But I want to impress upon whoever's listening, like, number one, don't compare. Everybody goes through their thing. But then number two, and this is what I love about Tabitha Brown, and what was another big push, is if God can do it for me, absolutely He can do it for you. There's nothing special about me. Like, I didn't go, there's nothing that I did specifically that you can't do too. All I did was listen to God and keep listening to Him. And so, if anything, it's just saying yes, and not being afraid, and not focusing so much on what other people think or even what we think. I think it just becomes, and it continues to become, how do I show up and do what it is I believe God is telling me to do, even when it doesn't make sense. Like, even Wise, when we talked before about me cooking for Tab, that whole opportunity did not make any sense. Like, I've never cooked for anybody like that before. I've never cooked for that many. At that point, I had never cooked for that many people. And so for me to even reach out didn't make sense. But the only reason it happened, and this is, I don't know if we talked about this before, Wise, but a big reason why it happened, it wasn't because of her. It was because of another friend. Someone said to me, hey, you should consider. And you know why they told me this? This is the obedience part. The only reason they told me this is because God had told me, I want you to start posting on Facebook. Post your recipes and I was like, okay, God, hold on. Too many people know me on Facebook. Like Instagram and stuff, I didn't have a big following then, so it was easier to put stuff. But I had friends on Facebook from like since high school. I was like, I don't need them to know that I'm doing this too. Like they're gonna be like, oh, what is Shayla talking about? She thinks she's a chef now? Like I was like in my head, I was like, right? You know what I mean? Like this is real. Like my grandma gonna see me talking about, hey guys, I'm a plant-based chef. I felt like an imposter. I was like, God, people gonna be in the comments like, girl, what you talking about? Go back to the hospital. And so God was like, no, I want you to do video, no more pictures. Show them yourself talking. Be you. Don't be anybody else but you. And I remember the video. It was me. I made an egg roll, a plant-based egg roll. And I was like, hey guys, this is what I'm making. I hope y'all like it. And someone in the comments said, that looks so good. Tabitha Brown's coming to Greensboro. You should reach out to her. And I knew she was coming, but I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And I just listened. And so, like, that's what I'm trying to say. How much of our life we could miss because we're getting caught up in making it look a certain way instead of just being willing to obey. So, yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay, that's good right there. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when you be obedient to things, God will set your path straight. And the thing is, it's not about your understanding. It's about understanding Him and having faith in His word and realize you need to step outside of yourself. You know, Bible tell you every day you need to deny yourself and follow Him. You deny yourself. You deny the self things, the things in the past, like you got on Facebook. Oh man, what they gonna think? You deny. You operate in obedience, and that's so powerful message. That we won't take nothing else today. Be obedient to what God has set forth to you. And don't get caught up what happened in the past. Don't get caught up what people think. Just get caught up what God says about you. And that ain't the lesson you need to, everybody need to learn today. You went from, this education, all that stuff, all the money you spend on being a doctor. Now you are a person, but more than that, you are, your ministry. Yeah. And then you also, with your ministry, you have now, it started a legacy. That's right. Because now your daughter is interested in doing the same thing. God said, I'm not their God. I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's a generational God. Mm-hmm. So He don't think about you. He think about the generation to come. And your daughter already sees that legacy, that ministry that you have started. Amen. And my prayer is that ministry go through her and her kids as well. Amen. You know what I'm saying? So as we prepare to wrap up this amazing podcast, one thing I do want you to do is talk about your YouTube channel, because that right there is amazing by itself. Talk about your YouTube channel and also your website as well.
Yeah. So, Chef Shayla MD as the YouTube channel. Same thing, website, chefshaylamd.com. And with the YouTube channel, I'll just say this. I started that right as I was starting my personal chef journey. And so the whole point of it was really to document what I was trying to do. So if you go to the YouTube channel and you look at the oldest video, remember the friend I said I cooked for, the first video is me cooking for her and getting ready to cook for her. And I remember it actually got 1,000, and then the first day I got 1,000 views, and I was like, oh, YouTube is easy. I'm gonna do great on this. And the next video, it got like maybe 100 views. And I remember thinking like, oh man, do I really want to keep doing this? This is kind of discouraging. I don't think people are really watching. And again, obedience, right? And humility. God kept saying, be consistent, persist. And He helped me focus on something other than myself. He's like, it doesn't matter if only one person watches. I want you to show up and tell them what I'm doing. So even before I was cooking for lots of people, I would turn the camera on and say, all right, guys, I don't know, am I making a mistake? Like, being for real. When I met Tabitha Brown, I got on the camera and said, guys, I met her. She spoke. I'm so excited. I'm ready to do this. And so people who watched that video, some of those same people who saw the video when I shared I got to cook for her. And it's like a testimony because they saw it in real time, the documentation of it, and it encouraged them like, wow, I remember when not even a year ago you were talking about what she said, and now you got to cook for her. And I don't know. I just think it's a beautiful thing that I can look at the videos and see the progression. I think
Come on
the
now.
biggest thing that I learned with YouTube though is don't give up. You know what I mean? Like even when I cooked for Tab, this was back. So what month are we in right now? January. So I cooked for her in May of last year. Right around January last year, I was about to stop. I was about to stop cooking. I was going to
Wow.
stop YouTube, all of it. Yes, all of it.
Wow.
I know why. Isn't that crazy? I was about to cook because I was in my head. I was like, man, nothing's happening. You know, this is taking a while because I wanted it fast. And God was like, slow down, just show up. And I did my first dinner party. I recorded that, and that did well. And then I started just building the momentum. And that's when I started posting more on other social media platforms and specifically Instagram and Facebook. And I can't remember if it was after or before I cooked for Tabitha Brown. I think it was after. So I cooked for her, right? Things exploded on Instagram because that's where she posted the video. And so a lot of new followers because they're excited. And there was a temptation to be like, all right, I'm going to stop YouTube. I'm going to focus on Instagram. And God was like, no, I told you YouTube. So I kept showing up. And the next video was a black bean burger video, which if you haven't watched it, I'm telling you, Wise, Lekeisha, y'all got to try that recipe.
Yes.
I might have to make that for y'all. It's amazing. I promise you. Not tooting my own.
I'm ready for it.
God told me to post that video. And I just remember it clear as day because that was one of the first videos that was organized. I knew everything I wanted to shoot. It was my first pop-up that I did in Greensboro. And I was nervous because I was like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm just trying to record them. But I just asked everyone, hey, is it okay if I record you? And the video was me cooking the black bean burgers and then recording people's reactions to the burgers. And that's my most popular video to this day. I think over 200,000 people watched the video.
Wow.
Tons of comments, brought in lots of new subscribers. Yeah. And it was perfect timing because more people were interested because the video before that was the Tabitha Brown video. And then it was the black bean burger. And that, I mean, I went from 1,000 followers to 10,000 in about a couple of months. And then I had another big swing during the holidays to get over 20. And so it looks like, oh man, in a year you got 20,000. That's amazing. But it took like 8 months before I got the first 1,000 and I almost quit. And then God was like, all right, you're being consistent. And so I think all of it is just it's a story to show how whatever you focus on becomes the bigger thing. Like if I focused on only this many people are watching, there can be this discouragement of like, what's the point? I'm not going to show up versus, man, I'm getting better at making videos that make sense. I'm getting better at sharing my story. I'm getting better at encouraging, getting better at editing, like focusing on the thing I can control. Because even when if you can imagine, right, you get this big flux of people that come in. So in your mind, what are you going to think? The next video is going to be big too. It's not. It's not big. It's like, in comparison to 200,000, it's hard to keep getting bigger than that unless you already got a team. And so just God had to, I think being on YouTube has humbled me and not falling in love with the outside applause. Like I still have to keep showing up. I still have to be consistent and remember what the goal is. The goal is not to be the most popular person. The goal is not to get the most views. The goal is to show up, do what God told me to, and let it reach who it's supposed to reach. And so whenever I have that mentality and I divorce myself from how many comments, how many views, I do better versus, looking to see, did people like it? You know what I mean? And so, it's a constant battle, but God is so good that's growing. And I'm excited to see what can happen in the next 6 months. I have lots of big goals and dreams with that. But yeah, I mean, the last time me and you talked, Wise, I want to say it was probably like 4,000 or something like that, people that were subscribed to me. So God has done some really cool things with the channel and with the business overall. So yeah, it's all him.
Yes, I give him all the glory because those who have not checked out the YouTube channel, the link would definitely be below the like button in the description. So definitely go out and check out her YouTube channel because I'm telling you, you will learn some things. And you also, Chef Shayla, your personality is so amazing and so inviting. So you definitely want to watch it because of the personality. You're like, oh man, I figure, you feel like you're at home. Even though you're watching on the screen, watching on your phone, watching whatever it is, you feel like, what I'm saying? And I'm talking to one of my friends, you know what I'm saying? That's how you made it sick. That's how you made the whole entire videos be like. You feel in the act, you learn something, but you feel like you're a part of the action as well. So I definitely engage people and definitely check out the website if you especially in the North Carolina Greensboro area. if you're looking for a personal shelf, hey, you got one right here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, so we gonna definitely hit you up because there's some things, you know, I definitely want to try for myself. I saw Tab the Brown try it myself, and how much he does. So I definitely want it for myself as well. You know what I'm saying? I got my personal shelf here, right here, and I'm thankful for my personal shelf. But you know the album I'm talking about. I'm not gonna call it album because I want to be blown up by it. I have one specific album that I'm looking for that I definitely want to share with me and my wife. You know what I'm saying?
I got y'all.
All right, my beautiful wife, I'll let you go ahead and wrap up and ask your final questions and then final things while we got the amazing Chef Shayla here.
Absolutely. Chef Shayla, I just want to encourage you right now real quick. Just know that just keep focusing on what you love to do. When you focus on what you love to do and honestly and really engaged in that, you're adding value. And when you're focusing on adding value, the currency is automatic coming when you do that. And that's what happened when people reaching out to you and saying, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? I would like you to do this. You know what? I'm going to send this over to such and such. That's going to continuously happen, and keep it open the doors for that to happen. Brush up on everything that you need to brush up on. Okay. Make sure your website is set up. Make sure the automatic link is available for people to be able to connect with you. Do all those things, the administrative or the management parts of it. Do that part in order to make sure it's functioning for others to be able to do what they need to do for you. God is calling you to great things. It's not over yet. I'm so excited for you. I'm looking forward to next year and actually being our chef as well, too. I'm putting that out there. So family, I would love for each and every one of you to connect with us on Living Unchained Podcast. Make sure you connect with us, and also Break Free Nation family. Make sure you deposit there. Make sure you sign up and come connect with us and all of our amazing tools and teachings that we have with them. And also make sure you connect with us on tour as well, too. So I'm so excited for you guys to connect with us, and also our latest books, How to Get Unstuck, Confused to Focus, and also our amazing book called Where. Make sure you purchase your copies. We look forward to seeing you on next time, family, on Friday. Back to you, baby.
All right, family. You know what I'm going to say. Love is an action word. While you're taking the time to love yourself, make sure you show love to someone else. And we'll see you on the next episode on Living Unchained Podcast. So, family, take care and peace.
Step by step.